Hi everyone. A very happy morning to all of you. Andarki namaskaram. As a singer, there have been numerous occasions when I would, before getting onto the stage, sit down with my co-singers, sit down with my musicians and plan what my first 15-minute segment would be like, what songs I'm going to sing, and what the next 15-minute segment would be like, what songs I'm going to sing with my co-singer, and what the further next 15-minute segment would be like, what we're all going to sing together, create a bang and all that. But this is the first ever 15-minute segment where I didn't have to memorize any lyrics. I didn't have to do any prepping of my voice or make elaborate lists, and I just walked onto the stage and now I feel the nerves because I really don't know. Me andarki oka vishayam telusu because as engineering students, when you have an exam, when you start preparing for it, the night before, right? We all know that. So when I got to know Bedrock and Beyond, I thought it's quite simple. As a singer, when I started learning how my formal training began, I would just talk about it and how my career shaped from there, and the principles that I grew up with as a child. I just speak about this. What's there? It's quite simple. But then when I was quite busy with my shows. I've recently started a band called Bandy Covers. I was quite busy with that till last night. And when last night I sat down, I was like, what do I talk about? Where do I begin? What all do I tell you? Then I thought, I'll just state the facts and let's see how it goes from there. So I started singing at the age of 3, which my mom claimed, which later I had to believe because my mom used to tape my voice in a tape recorder when I was a kid, and she used to play that blabbering or the singing to our friends and relatives. And those were my very first audience who would listen to my recorded voice from a tape recorder, and they would appreciate me. So I'm very thankful to my extended family to have heard my blabbering at such young age and thought that was good singing. But my mom is a radio artist and a music teacher, so I was naturally inclined towards music. But I must appreciate my mom because she never forced me to learn music as a child. Just because she's into music, she didn't force me into music. But then she would take me along to her music classes where she was learning, and I would just sit down with her, next to her, and she would learn from her guru, and I would gradually pick up the beat, the rhythm, which is called talam in Carnatic music. Adi talam, Rupaka talam, Jampa talam, all of these I would carefully pick up from her teacher. And then he started observing me, he started looking at me, and then he said one day after the class was over, he made me sit and he started playing violin, and he said, just start doing your talam. And I kept doing my talam. He played some very difficult phrases on the violin, and I somehow managed to finish my talam properly. And then he said, she has got a brilliant sense of rhythm, so you should enroll her. And I also know she sings well, so you should enroll your daughter into formal training of music. That's what my mom's guru told my mother. So that's when I got into formal training of Carnatic music when I was in grade 4. But as a kid who grew up in the 90s, my mind was fascinated with songs on MTV, on Channel V, on ETV Saragalu, on Gemini TV. This was what interested me. These were the songs that interested me. Classical music was something that I just learned from my parents or my grandparents, but film music was what interested me. So this was just somewhere in the back of my mind. But then, yeah, let me tell you something. My mom's side, it is 7 brothers and sisters my mom has, and my dad also has 7 brothers and sisters. So I have way too many cousins. So whenever we would have family gatherings, we would all sit down, we would all have this mehfil kind of a thing. Where we would all sing, we would do antakshri, and the elders in the family would sing padyalu, and that's where I got to respect our own language. Though I was studying in central school, and the only language that I was learning at that point of time was Hindi. But then because of the interest people were showing in my household, my elderly people, the way they were respecting our own language, that made me take an interest in the language itself along with the music, along with the beauty of music added to it. And I also urge you all today to understand the lyrics of any song, not just अरे lyrics में क्या रखा है, beat, बस हम beat पकड़ते हैं, नहीं, you have to understand the lyrics, because it's on you now today, especially because internet being such an important part of of our lives. There's no running away from internet. It is just there in everybody's lives. Even in babies' hands, there's YouTube Music, even YouTube Kids is not entirely safe. You have to do the filtering part of what is right and what is wrong. So that's where I want to make this point of what songs have to be shown to kids, what are good lyrics, what are obscene lyrics, what are vulgar lyrics, what is not appropriate for kids. It's on your shoulders. This responsibility is on you to take care of you as a generation and the generation next to you, your younger siblings, your cousins, your friends siblings, the younger ones, because they don't have a filter out there. Back then when we were kids in the 90s, we had TV time only in the evenings for a very short period of time. But now internet is unlimited, everyone has an access to the phone. So it's on you guys to take up this responsibility to filter out what is right for you, for the younger kids around you, and from the movies, even from the movies, what is right for us in terms of violence. The amount of violence that is shown in movies on OTT platforms is just too much. We all know that, right? And I really don't have a clue who is enjoying all this violence. Heads being chopped off, arms being cut, legs being chopped off. I really don't understand who's happy looking at this such gory things on OTT platforms or on the big screen, and we're not comfortable watching it with our family, right? So it's on your shoulders to take up this responsibility to filter out what is good from movies, what is right for you, for your younger ones in the house, in your household, and similarly, what is right for you in terms of songs, and what's obscene lyrics, what's vulgar lyrics, and we should all filter out what is not right for us. So going back to my childhood, yeah. So Paduta Tega happened. You all know Paduta Tega, right? ETV Paduta Tega. So ETV Paduta Tega was happening in ETV, and the first ever children's series was being advertised. So my mom thought we'll send my audition tape for the competition. So we had to record 3 songs for it. My mother thought we'll record it at our home on our tape recorder. But then my cousin, who had visited us from Delhi just then, he said, no, I just came across a really good what do you say, a recording studio in Vishakhapatnam. Back then we were living in Vishakhapatnam. He said we should record your voice in a recording studio. My mother said, are you out of your mind? It'll cost us, it'll definitely cost a lot, right? Recording in a recording studio. We'll just record at home. No, he said, he was adamant. He somehow convinced us and he took us to that studio. There was a lot of waiting. And then finally I was called inside and I was asked to sing. And then Mr. Ashirwad, who's the music composer, he heard me sing, and then he thought that this girl is really talented and I want her to sing for a devotional album that I'm working on currently. Then we were pleasantly surprised and we said okay, and he made me sing. So that was my first ever recording, and I was in grade 6 when this happened, and my name was published on the cassette as Baby Malavika. So from then on, I sang for a lot of devotional albums all through my grade 6 and grade 7 and grade 8. And this was much before I even started singing for movies. So this was a really a welcome sign for me, for my family, because I was getting good opportunities in music. And later Partha Tega happened. We eventually recorded the audition tape. The audition tape was sent to ETV. I got a call from ETV and then I participated in it. And I cleared the prelims, I cleared the quarterfinals, I cleared the semifinals, I cleared the finals, and I won the finals. And I'm very fortunate to have had such a long, nice journey with the legend himself, Sri S.P. Balasubramanian Garu, who was hosting Padata Tega at that time. Thank you. So, as a child, my mother would always teach me some very challenging songs. songs which had sargams usually at the end. What is sargam? I'll give you a little example of your times. Maybe not of your times, but I'll give you an example of Rai's song. కన్నులతో చూసేది గురువా కనులకు సొంతమునా కనులకు సొంతమునా. You all know this song, right? Heard this? Okay. So after the song, at the end of the song, there is mama gaga mama sa sa gaga sa sa gaga ni ni sa gaga sa mama sa gaga sa pa pa sa gaga sa ni ni sa gaga sa sa ni da pa ma ga ga ma pa ni sa ga re ga sa ni da pa ma ga ri sa ga ma kannulato చూసేది గురువా. So these are called sargam. So these always fascinated me. I always loved learning challenging songs, and somehow all through my childhood I would learn P. Sushila Garu's songs, S. Janaki Garu's songs, Chitra Garu's songs, and somehow the universe manifested it for me in the form of Amma Avani song for me, which is composed by the legendary ace composer, the Oscar winner, Shri M.M. Keeravani Garu, and I got to sing this beautiful song Amma Avani, and that happens to be a song which the child sings in a competition. So it has this long, lengthy sargam at the end. So I'm very fortunate to have got that song in my kitty, and I'm even more blessed to have received the Nandi Award for that song from the hands of Shri Amitabh Bachchan. So whatever you actually like as a child, or you put in a lot of hard work, I never really went and asked any composer to give me this song or even give me an opportunity. Whatever came my way just came my way. So that reminds me of this beautiful shloka, the very, very famous shlokam from Bhagavad Gita, which is karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturphuh ma te sangostva karmani. Anyone knows what the meaning of this is? Just focus on your duties and don't bother about the fruits of your work, right? It's just in simple terms, this is what this shlokam means. So I think this has been very apt for me, because I just focused on enjoying the learning part, enjoying the challenging part of being a singer, and just things came. Whatever nice songs came my way, they knocked my door and they just came to me. There's another brilliant example I want to say. After winning Padatatiga, after having sung a few songs in Visakhapatnam, and I also got the opportunity to record some beautiful songs called an English song called Through the Myriad of Books for the movie Rockford, which is my first song for a movie which was directed by Nagesh Kukunur, and my second movie song was for the movie Bollywood Calling. Again, all of this happened in Visakhapatnam, when I was studying 7th and 8th. I was very little, because I started at a very young age. I was just, getting these opportunities with the help of Mr. Ashirwad, where I was learning my music. But then my mother thought, because I've been singing and I've been getting good opportunities here in Visakhapatnam, what if we moved to Hyderabad or Chennai? The kind of opportunities that I would get would be much better, would be much bigger. Maybe she stood a chance of getting opportunities to sing in Telugu movies. That's what my mother thought, and everyone in my family, my extended family, everyone opposed. What are you saying? You want to take a little girl and move to another city, and you want to try your hand in movies? Are you out of your mind? We have no connection. Yahan ka, idhar ka, udhar ka, nobody we know in the movies, and you want to go and try out for movie auditions? How do you even plan to do that? But my mom thought she deserves to at least give a trial. Maybe something will come our way, is what she really thought. But because we had no support from any of our family members, because this was like in 2003, 2002. Back then there were the music composers or the producers or the makers of the movies always wanted Bollywood singers to be singing in Telugu movies. Back then, there were a lot of songs being sung by Udit Narayan ji or Hariharan ji and Shreya Ghoshal ji, and these were the Kavita Krishnamurti ji, Alka ji. These were the people who were even singing in South movies, and encouraging a Telugu singer was quite less back then. But now things have changed a lot. Back then, it was something else. So no one was really behind the idea of going to another city and trying our luck in movies. So we just kept doing our thing. I kept learning, I kept doing my studies. Then one day, you know what happened? A long lost relative of ours, a very distant relative of ours, he had come to visit us in Vishakhapatnam. And he said, I'm friends with Mr. M.M. Kiravani. So give me a CD of your songs. I'll go and give it to him. We were like, how would he even know Kiravani Garu and all that? Why is he saying? Then my mom said, "Theek hai, what is there? We'll just give him the CD. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's okay. What's there?" So maybe my mother's prayers or the faith she had in my talent, that she gave the CD to him, and he really had a very nice, favorable friendship with Kiravani Garu, because Kiravani Garu held my distant relative, my Pedanana Garu, in high regard, and he actually took the CD, he heard those songs, and he gave me the opportunity to sing in a very big ticket movie called Gangotri, which happened to be the launch of our very the very famous star of today, Allu Arjun Garu's very first movie, which happened to be the 100th movie of Raghavendra Rao Garu, and which had Kiravani Garu as the composer. And I got to sing two beautiful, brilliant songs in that movie. One of them being Nuvu Nenu Kalisunte Nakento Ishtam. This was a song, a duet with none other than Sri S.P. Balasubramanian Garu. And the second song, Oka Totalo Oka Kommalo Oka Puvu Pusindi. This is the second song which I got to sing with Sri S.P. Charan Garu. So this opportunity came upon its own, and it knocked our doors in Vishakhapatnam. So then all my extended family said, it's okay, yeah, now you can move to Hyderabad. And then we were given a green signal, and that's when we moved to Hyderabad. Even after moving to Hyderabad, I wouldn't say it was a very breezy journey for me getting opportunities. Whatever came my way. I've been content with the opportunities I got. I've got some brilliant songs and some brilliant accolades I've received, but my lowest point in my entire career, I would say, not just as a musician, as a human, was during the COVID, during 2020. I had been asked to come and sing in a musical program in ETV. You all know what it is, because that's where we lost our legendary singer Sri S.P. Balasubramanian Garu. Then a false allegation was kept on my head. A lengthy WhatsApp chat a WhatsApp message had been created, and it was circulated saying I was the cause of Sri S.P. Balu Garu's death. Even hearing such things pushed me to such lows in my life that I was totally depressed. I was shattered. I didn't want to come outside my room, and I was pregnant at that point of time, and I was so depressed. I lost that baby because I was mentally so low. Why me? I kept saying, why me, because I know the truth. It's not true. Why am I being framed? Why am I being used as a scapegoat? Then one day my husband said, you never asked why me when you received an award from the hands of Shri Amitabh Bachchan. You never said why me when you received your Nandi Award from Chandrababu Naidu Garu. Or you never said why me when you won the Padta Tiga. You never said why me when you sang Bommali. So you have no right to say why me when life gives you hardships. So that entirely changed my perspective. I started looking at things differently. And then Sri Ravi Shankar Garu's meditations really helped me a lot to come out of the depression that I was in. I thought everyone would question me the moment I stepped out of the house, but people just moved on. And all my friends, all my singer friends, they were extremely supportive because they had seen me participating in that program that day and how careful I was, and It was something else that had happened. So they knew the truth. The musicians knew the truth. So then that's how I gradually got out of it. And now I'm back again. So we've recently started a band, like I said, which is called Ecoverse, and we are performing. And I hope to perform here sometime soon at ACE Engineering College. So thanks to TEDxACE Engineering College for having me here today.